Deke, when he called me, asked me to come in and talk to you about investing back into your operation. And after seeing Dan's presentation this morning, I didn't realize how much money we actually had to invest back in our operation at a $500 profit, on our cows. That's a pretty big number, something we don't normally see. So if there was ever a time that we had in our lives to put something back into our operation, it's today. I broke it into about 3 different categories. Unfortunately, I don't have anything new, any silver bullets, any probably answers to all of your questions, but I want to review some of the basics with you, some of the things that we need to think about, that we talk about all the time, and see if we can get some of those funds back into our operation to invest into the future. Too often we're very guilty of worrying about our own success as opposed to worrying about the success of the future generations, of the future of the land. And when they put me in the ground, I hope somebody will say, at least that guy did his best to take care of the land and the future generation. So I'm going to break it down into stocking rates, animal health, and family. Again, nothing that I'm going to tell you is new, but this is one of my favorite quotes, and I think it says a lot for all of us. And it is important, Jan, to be reminded, about things that happen in our industry, in our lives. And Creed, I want to remind you, drought's normal. Drought is normal, and Creed knows this. He's probably been one of the most successful ranchers in our area. And he came in this morning, he had a smile on his face, and I knew exactly why he was smiling. It's because he had mud on his feed truck. And he hadn't had mud on his feed truck in quite a while. In fact, he always accuses me of getting all the rain and stealing it from him. But drought is normal, Creed, and it's normal about 20% of the time. If you look at the long-term averages, you can expect about 20% of the years to be droughty years. Maybe not as bad, hopefully not as bad as we saw in 11 and 12. But even Mark Twain understood this. Mark Twain said, climate is what we expect, weather is what we get. And that's exactly right. Unfortunately, we tend to think normal is that best weather year that we ever had. And we base our operations on those elevated stocking rates, those successful years, and we think every year ought to be like that. I think sometimes we're better to invest in those less than good years. So let's start with stocking rate. Proper range management, keep the ground covered. You guys know this. A man whose pastures are short needs rain the most, but a man whose pastures are in good shape makes the most out of the rain he gets. And that's very true. And you've seen that. If you've had a pasture that had grass on it and you got a limited amount of rainfall, that moisture goes into the soil. If you've got ground that's not covered, that raindrop hits, it splashes, it caps the soil, it runs off, it takes the nutrients with it, and you've got problems. So investing in your future could simply mean stocking more conservatively so you leave more grass behind for future years. One of the things we put a lot of our money into to accomplish this, to prevent overgrazing, overutilization, is a lot of cross fencing. We put lots of dollars into our fences so we can rotate and rest pastures. A lot of people look at this and say, wow, what a waste. This guy didn't have enough cattle. But my son will tell you that in May of this year, there was hardly any grass out here on this pasture. When we branded our calves, we moved the cattle to a different pasture, allowed this a full growing season rest, and now we've got heifers back in on this pasture this fall, but that's what it looked like in September going into the fall. We didn't get a lot of rain last year, Creed. We got no runoff, really. My ponds, or what few ponds I have up in the Arbuckles, are pretty low. But we did grow the grass because we conserved the moisture and kept the ground covered. Another thing I put a lot of money into is water development. I'm not fortunate enough to have a lot of ponds, a lot of streams and creeks, and a lot of the water that we deal with is well water. I also don't have a lot of electricity. And so a lot of those wells are solar wells. But, not only does the grass need water, but your cat, you run out of water and you've got all kinds of problems. You're up against the wall in a hurry. But there's another thing here that I like about quality water, and that is, and I can't put a finger on it, Deke. I don't know what the value of it is, but I know when an animal can get a cool drink of water in the summertime, it's got to be better for them, you know. And when they can get a warm drink of water in the wintertime, it's got to be better for them. And one of the things I enjoy about these systems that we put in, that we invest in, this tank right here is about a 9,000 gallon tank. Takes 2 loads of 2 trucks of concrete to pour the base, holds about 9,000 gallons, and then we pump our well water into these. One of the things I like about it too is they're freeze proof in the wintertime. You know, it's funny, when the ground comes out of the water in the winter, it's warm. When it comes out of the ground in the summer, it's cool. Have you ever noticed that? That's a joke. The water's the same temperature, okay? It's just that I'm cold in the winter, so the water feels warm. But anyway, we build these to where they're freeze-proof, and we got to look, and my wife, Ruth, who's here with me today, and a very integral part of the operation, if not the heart of it, she hates wasting water. Man, if we lose water, I'm in trouble. So we've started, if you look back here at the back, you can see a little pond, not even a quarter acre, but we started building dirt storage so we can take the overflow, pipe it away from that tank so it doesn't mud up around it, and then spill it into a little pond. Brush control. You want to increase, you want to invest in your operation, then remove some brush. It increases your carrying capacity, no doubt. My son takes a little skid loader with a pair of nippers, and he fights cedar all the time. He loves to kill cedar. That's his passion in life. I've got on the skid loader once, backed into the barn with it, and I have been removed from operating the skid loader. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but he won't let me run the skid loader anymore. Fire, man, you know, we've got to do something, and we've got to do something now. The Noble Foundation has done a yeoman's job trying to spread the word and get people interested in fire, but, you know, and I know we get nervous about it. I know it scares us, but that's the only cost-effective way I can typically invest in removing large numbers of cedar trees. If we could just burn every 5 years or something and get rid of all those little ones, at least we could maintain what we have. We did a lot of burning this last Monday and Tuesday, so I come to you today with smoker's cough. These are my 2 boys. One's running a sprayer, one's running a drip torch. They had never burned like this before and did a great job. But you can do a lot with few people if you'll find out how to do it in the proper way to go about it. Animal health, I don't know why I put these dogs in here. Family matters, I guess, to us. And so this is the part of our operation here. They go everywhere we go. But health, not in the sense of, you know, what vaccine do I use, but in the sense of, do I have enough overall pasture nutrition for my cattle? This is 2011, you know. Why do we sometimes destock our cows? Why do we destock our places when we run out of grass? We're investing in the future. You see, I might have lost money because I sold a bunch of bred cows to a packer that year, but had I kept those cows and grazed my grass down to floor level like that, I would have damaged us for future years. So it's important to sometimes stop the bleeding. You know, the next year was another dry year. We didn't have to sell a lot of cows, but we did make the decision to wean early and get rid of the calves, because when you wean early, you save a lot of water, you cut the cow's nutrition requirements in half, she'll travel further to water, you get better grazing distribution when she doesn't have a calf with her. And so sometimes we have to invest by selling short, if you will. Genetics, Deke Alcar helps me with my genetics on the place. These are 2 cows my wife is very proud of. I'm not too picky about cow color always, you know, but as long as they'll breed and produce some beef, we keep our goals very simple, and that is to use crossbred cows with a terminal cross bull and raise as many pounds of beef as we can. Actually, the one on the right was a orphan calf that we had raised up. Her name is Wendy. And then Spot to the left, my wife said, "You are not selling that cow." So anyway, Robert Wells helps me pick bulls, so anyway, if you got a problem with genetics, talk to Robert and Deke, and they will get you fixed up. That's more realistic of what we're actually after. Kind of a black cow, and we use a lot of Charolais bulls and raise pounds of beef. And I honestly feel I can get 60 to 80 more pounds of beef just by using the old animal science rule of thumb that, hybrid vigor pays. I don't feed a lot of hay, but I do feed some hay. I always have first calf heifers, calves I need to background and so forth. And, we spend about $60,000, $70,000 on a barn to store hay. I can put about 1,000 tons in that barn. But that allows me to buy hay when hay's available and when hay's cheaper. I plan ahead. If I don't need to feed the hay, then the next year I don't have to buy hay. I just continue to store it. I even like to put round bales in the barn, which is novel to some, but I just don't want it to get rained on. And then when I feed it, I don't want to waste it, especially after 2011 when I was paying $200 a ton for hay and shipping it from North Dakota. I learned the value of feeding hay the right way. Family matters tremendously. Teach your kids. Learn from your kids. Heck, I learn more from them than they do from me because they're always telling me how to do things. So I know they must be right, huh? No, it's not that way. I've got great kids, but I learn from them because my wife has taught them to think independently, and so they're constantly questioning what we're doing, and which is a good thing. Jan, you brought up a point. Sometimes you got to sharpen your axe. It's good to spend time with your family. Go on vacation, sharpen your axe, talk about the business, have a little fun. And the most important thing I want to tell any young people that are out here, if you're going to take on ranching as a lifestyle, you need to find you the best woman possible. And if you're a woman and you're looking to find a man, the same goes either way. But, when you've got a partner in crime, you can at least have somebody to discuss the future with and how you're handling business. She has probably kept me from divorcing my kids numerous times. It's not the things I didn't know that did me in. It was the things that I knew but didn't do. Okay? Success is neither magical nor mysterious. Success is the natural consequence of consistently applying the basic fundamentals. So if you find yourself in a bind, Ron, back up and look at the fundamentals and ask the question, why am I doing what I'm doing? Ace Reed says, yep, after looking at this, I guess all we get out of living is life. So with that, Ron, I'll turn it back over to you.